Hi everyone. So I picked up this Paper House Where the Wild Things Are collection not too long ago. I did get mine on HSN, but Paper House themselves has it also on their site. So I'll link it wherever is appropriate, and those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. So I do have a little, I guess, great nephew. It's my niece's son who has a birthday coming up, and I thought, you know what, this will be really cute because he is a little wild boy, and I think this is just gonna be such a cute card. So I plan to make it like a fun card, not just like a regular old card, you know. So we do have die cut, or actually, these are stickers, which is interesting. We have the stickers. We have another set of stickers is just obviously smaller. This is the way the kit came, right, with all these different things. What I really want to use are probably the stickers, but in a die cut way. I mean, the puffy stickers that we can decorate with those, all these different things. I mean, we have this. Look at these, are so cute. And there's another set of stickers. And then, of course, we have some washi and then the papers. So I think maybe I'll make some kind of, like I said, a fun fold type card. I don't know if it should be a stepper card, maybe. Let me think about what it is that I want to do, and then we'll start making the card base for it, because I don't want it to just be a regular card, you know, I want it to be really fun. I'm just looking at this, and this might work. Let me see. There's lots of pieces of this just in my mind. Let me see how big this is. I figured it would be a 4 inches, okay, by 4 3/4. If I did like a stepper card, like a 5x7, like a big stepper card, that might take up a lot of the room here. It's 5x7, 4. Okay, all right. Let me think about exactly what it is that we want to do, and then I'll go from there. I might even design it around this, my card. Maybe still make it a stepper, but like with this being the focal point on this side. I don't know. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, guys. Yeah, so this is going to be very specific to this card, but you can do whatever you like. I am going to put this as my little focal point here, and it's going to be a stepper card, but it's going to be like a slimline stepper, but a little bit like a jumbo slimline, okay? So I'm going to put this aside. When I measure this, this is 4 by 4 3/4, roughly. And so if I cut this little piece and make it, you know, the piece that's going to be on the like larger side of my stepper card, I designed my card around that. Now I know like the Anna Griffin steppers, or not steppers, sorry, her slimlines are like 4 inches by like 9 1/4 almost, or somewhere. They're really big, right? So I don't think this is too far out of the mainstream. I was gonna do 4 1/4, you know, just to make it a little more like slimline, like a little closer to that 4 inch. But the numbers are really ugly for that. So 4 1/4 by 9, it was just not pretty. I wrote some numbers out just really quickly, like this is what I ended up with or what I wanted, and then this is the size of that little piece. And you know, to make it a 4 1/4 by 9. I would have to cut it at about 5 inches, so that the matte layer on this is about right for that little piece that I have, that piece I'm going to die cut, or cut out, should I say. So it would be 3 1/4, 1 1/2, 2 7/8, 4 1/4, 6 3/8, and I know those numbers aren't like the best numbers, okay? And that's just to get a stepper that works in that dimension, those dimensions. So instead I'm going to do 4 1/2, make it a little bit bigger. That means I'm also going to put my cut line a little bit bigger, because the mat is going to be bigger in this area, and to make it even all around. Here I was giving a 1/4 inch mat to my little piece that I want to, you know, decorate around. So we're going to do 4 1/2. We need our paper needs to be actually 9 inches, I guess 8. Yeah, 9 inches tall. I didn't write that down. By 9 still. Okay, so actually it's going to be 9 by 9, and then we're going to score it in the middle, so that's kind of interesting. I'm going to cut my stepper at 5 1/4. Okay, so when we get there, well, that'll make sense. We're going to score it here, 4 1/2. And then the score lines are going to be 1, 2, 3 1/4, 4 1/2, because that one's already going to be there, and then 6 3/4. And that should give us a nice stepper. I don't really know. I haven't actually tried it. So I'm going to cut this down right now. So let's see. I said 9 by 9. That's so funny. You feel like it's not going to work because of that. Now, saying I need a 9 by 9, oopsie. I need to go switch this out for a 12 inch square scrapbook paper, because this is only like 8 1/4, 8 1/2. I think it's an A4, so it's 8 1/4 wide. So I will be right back. So I have this piece of, I don't know, really old 12 by 12 paper. Not the thickest. I would have loved for it to be a 300 GSM like this one, right? Nice thick paper, but it's not, and so we'll just deal with it. It's fine. So what I'm going to do is cut this, again, 9 by 9, which just seems weird because I'm like, how's it a square? But then we're just going to fold that, so that's fine. Oh, before I make this cut, let me just make sure I want 9. I guess that part doesn't matter. You can make it 9.5 if you want, in the length, but I don't want to make it too big. So cut it at 9, and then I'm going to cut this ugly piece off too, so I'll cut that at 9 off the other side. And a few different things. So I'm going to go ahead and get a scoring board out for this first one, although we can just start using the paper trimmer. You definitely have to use paper trimmer to get these cuts. Well, I don't even say definitely. You can use an X-Acto knife if you want to use that and a ruler, but I'm not usually the type to do that. So, sorry. Right now it's 9 by 9. We're going to go through all the numbers a couple times. So, and then we're going to score it at 4.5. And I put lotion on, so that's why you get a little something on here, a little schmutz. I'm not going to fold this right now. Now you can start doing your score lines with the scoring board. It's just going to be a little trickier, so I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and switch out to my trimmer. Okay. So I always have to think about this. I kind of want to just go ahead and make the cut, because what happens is right now we're going to fold this and you're going to make a lot of score lines over here. So some people like to do the score lines first and then do the cut. I feel like if I put the cut in first, at least it'll let me know where to stop scoring, because I think sometimes you kind of get off kilter after a while. So we're going to put this in here, and we need to cut a cut line at 5 1/4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to line up my paper so that it goes to 5 1/4. Right there, so 5 1/4. But we need to start cutting this at essentially, let me find what that number is, because this score line is gonna be 6 3/4 later. But I need to know where to start cutting from that, which is essentially actually just 2 1/4 inches down. So I'm gonna line this up. I'm not gonna put it on my paper quite yet. Well, I did there, but I'm gonna line this up at 2 1/4. So here's 2.5, 2 1/4 inches, and we're going to cut all the way down to leave 1 inch at the bottom. I'm going to try to turn this so you can see what I'm doing. So starting at 2 1/4, I'm going to push down, so that's going to cut, and I'm going to go all the way down to leaving 1 inch at the bottom, which basically means to go to 8. So from 2 1/4 to 8. Okay, it's about there. Now that's a little bit dangerous, but that's kind of what I prefer to do. That way I know when I do my score lines, I know exactly where I'm scoring up to. Oh my gosh, look at that. From my lotions putting stuff all over. Okay, now from here, you could put this on your scoreboard, but I'm just going to score it here. So I'm going to get this blade out of the way because I don't want that cutting anything. And basically we're going to start here. So you can put this down or you can keep it out of the way, I suppose. I like to put it down because it kind of helps me, I think. So our first score line is going to be at 1 inches. So you can either, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to just take it off and do the math. Okay, so again, this is, how much is this? This was 9, right, in this direction. So I'm going to line it up at 8 to get that 1 inch score. I know. Actually, I'm going to use this thinner scoring tool because this is pretty thin. So to get a 1 inch score. And I'm going to go right to that line that we just cut. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So just going to that line that I just cut, 1 inch. And that's not the best score, but this paper is really thin, so you can go again and again. So we're doing 1 inch, which means line this up at 8 inches. We're going to do 2 inches, that means line it up at 7, right? And I'm just going to that cut line, stop in there, and we can do it again. Okay, 2 inches, and then from there we need 3 1/4. So to go to 3, let's say 6 1/4 more. So we need to line up at 5 3/4. Right there. Sorry, I was about to misspeak, and we do not want to misspeak. So again, we're lining this up at 5 3/4, which is essentially 3 1/4 from here. Okay, and then we already have the score, again, right to that cut line. We already have the score for 4 1/2, right? So that's already there. So we don't have to worry about that one. That was there from initially, right, when we first scored at 4.5. But if you want to do it again, you can definitely line this up and then do your 4.5. And then from here, we're just going to do our score line at this last piece, which is essentially 6 3/4. And that means you're leaving 2 1/4 here. So I can line this up at 2 1/4. Okay, so I'm giving you 2 different ways to come up with those numbers, but I'll tell you the numbers again right now, and then you can, you know, work it however you need to work it. I did go a little further than I wanted to on this one. Just push that back and no, I'll be none the wiser. Okay, let's look at this. Sorry about my fingerprints all over. Oh, that drives me nuts actually. Okay, 9-inch square piece of paper. We're scoring it at 4.5. Okay, now if you want to make your cut line or not, that's up to you right now, but you're going to cut it from 1 inch, I'm sorry, let's say 5 1/4 inches in, but you're going to start the cut at 1 inch all the way up to 6 3/4 inches. Or you can just score it for now and then cut it, right? So from 1 inch to 6 3/4, and then our score lines on this piece that remaining are at 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 1/4, the 4.5 is already there, and then 6 3/4. And I know people ask if I can write these things down. I cannot. So let's start off with this. I'm just going to fold it right in half. I haven't done a stepper card in a minute, you guys, so I'm just hoping this works. Okay, and then basically with these guys, this one goes down, and this one, you know, I just messed with it, doesn't matter, but this one goes down, and this one comes up. And I'll tell you this, the math behind this, that way you can make your own stepper later. I'm going to say, no, I did this one up a little bit. It should be a little bit higher, sorry. And then this one down, and then back up, right, and then down again, and there we are. Now I can see that I did this one just a little off. This is handmade, so, you know, whatever. I'm just going to pull this down a little bit and try to straighten it out, even though it's a little bit off. And then that's the stepper right there. Hopefully you can see that. Now, those are the numbers I came up with. If you want to do something else, this is the math behind a stepper, and I'll just tell you guys real quick. That way, it's not hard. You're always going to have the midline, right? So whatever you're doing with your card, that middle one is always going to be a constant. Cool. That means in the front, for this one, I had 4.5 to play with. So whatever you can fit in numbers that work into 4.5, or if it's a 5 by 7, let's say 5 inches, whatever your numbers will work into 5. And on the back one, right? Same thing. But on the front, whatever you go up, you have to come down that same amount. So I went up 1, I came down 1. So that's why the score lines were at 1 and 2 inches. And then after that, that's already 2 inches taken away. That means I still have 2.5 inches to play with. And so really to cut that in half nicely, it's 1 1/4. So then the next line was 3 1/4, right? Because we scored at 2, 3 1/4. And then we already have the 4.5 line there. So whenever you're designing a stepper, just keep those numbers in mind. Like whatever you have here, you need to go up and down the same amount. So you can play with those numbers however you like. Once you get to the midway, on the back one, all you're doing is scoring right down the middle. So this was 4.5, so we scored at 2 1/4, right? In here, which essentially is 6 3/4. If it was 5 by 7, I would say 2.5. My score line would be at the 2.5 mark, whatever that is. Once we get there, 7 whatever. Yeah, 7.5. You know what I'm saying? The actual length of the card. So hopefully that makes sense. So you can design your own steppers. Whatever you go up, you got to come down, and then obviously that number has to make sense with however much paper you have at your midline, right? Okay. After all of that, what I'm going to do is cut this guy out. So I'm just going to take my trimmer, my guillotine, and just cut it, and then cut this off, okay? And then we'll go from there, because I don't really know what else I want to do yet. I'll be right back. So for right now, we have this piece, and I did that way, then that's fine. I'm going to align this with that shiny, shiny gold, which I think is going to look really cool. Just some gold mirror card. And so basically we're going to do that. So this is 4 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to cut this to 4 1/4. Yeah, 4 1/4 by 5. So 4¼ by 5 is what I'm going to trim this down to, and I'll be right back. I'm just going to glue this guy to this, and I'm actually probably, well, yeah, I'll just use a white glue. I was going to use some liner tape, but I'm just going to glue that down just because this is my first starting off point. I don't really know, like I said, what I'm going to do with the rest of this card, and then we can line out the rest of the stuff if we want to or whatever, but we're just going to make some cuts, so let's just do that. Now this is kind of a big edging for me, you know, I like smaller edges. But I just wanted the card to work out with the numbers. I would have done a 4¼ to be honest, just to make it a little tighter, the card. But that's okay. So we have this piece. And the reason I'm saying I'm a little stressed is because here, this is a 1-inch piece, right? It's only 1 inch tall. So to have 1/4 inch sides, you know, we're going to take a lot off of it. But that's okay. To have the same amount all around here. But we can do whatever we want. It doesn't have to echo this. You can just put like a little something here, you know, stickers, or like, oh, like this. You know, or like, we'll eat you up, we love you so. I mean, I can put that on there and I'd be happy with that, you know. Or like this little guy, just right in there. Huh, I'm wondering, maybe I should do something like that. Because this little strip, how big is this? I mean, obviously we're going to have to cut it. So if I use that there, I could do that, and then if I cut it in a way that looks nice, hold on you guys, it looks like it takes these two, is that what it does? Yeah, so what I can do is come in here, I know, and kind of fussy cut this, so kind of go around this guy a little bit, and then make it a little nicer when I actually get there. Go around that guy, go around this guy, cut off a little bit of that. And you could have done this while it was still on the paper, I just removed it. What I'm going to do is kind of even this out a little bit nicer. Because we're still going to put stickers or other stuff on top of this, so this is just a background piece anyway. And pop this here. I think that might be good. If I do that in the hole. So that's just to put a little something there. Have this little guy here. Okay, liking it. And then, but if you don't want to do that, like say you're going to measure this, that's 1 inch by, let me measure how wide this piece is because I didn't do the math on that, by 3 3/4. So 1 inch by 3 3/4 would take up this whole space, and then you can do the math if you want to, you know, matte and layer this. It would be 3/4 inches by 3 1/2, right? Your first matte layer. Then the next matte layer would be 1/2 inch by 3 1/4. So you can see it would just start getting pretty small. You know what I'm saying? That's why I didn't want to matte that. I was like, I'm okay. This one over here is 1 1/4, I believe. Sorry, yes, this one's 1 1/4 tall by 3 3/4. So the first matte layer would be 1 by 3 1/2, and then the second matte layer would be 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, so you just pop, you know, your matte layer and then the next one, and then this piece should be 2 1/4, right, by 3 3/4. So the first matte layer would be 2 by 3 1/2, and then the next matte layer would be 1 3/4 by 3 1/4, right? Yeah. So I'm actually going to go ahead and cut some gold mirror card for these that will matte the first part, and then we'll see what I want to do for the second part. Okay, so I'm going to come back with the first matte layer for these two, and I'll be right back. Because to make that first matte layer, all I did was cut into my paper as deep as I needed it to be, and you know what I'm saying, I cut it and then I cut it off, and then these pieces that were left over perfectly helped me matte out this. So it was already 3 1/2 wide, so that's really nice. I can add these on now or add them on later, but let's just put this on right now. So again, this piece is, I'll repeat the size, 1 by 3 1/2, and then the next one is 2 by 3 1/2. Okay, and I'm just going to add them on right there and right here. Okay, and I'll be right back. This paper is so cute, you guys. So for the next matte layer, I think I'm going to use this just to bring the words back in. It's going to be really small, but what I'll use this is for that back piece. And on the other side, it also has words with the "Let the Wild Rumpus Start." I think I'm going to try and cut this in a way that I can mat that right into here real cute. But I also want to show you, if you do go with like the matte layers in this front part, look at this. It's like a 1/2-inch strip that would look super cute matted into here, you know, with the little character faces. And you have enough for that in these little throwaway pieces. Pretty cute. So let me cut my layers for this next two, and then we'll go from there. Okay guys, I'm cutting my matte layers and I was like, oh, I made a little oopsie, but that's okay, because I forgot that I did this 4 1/2 and I was thinking 4 1/4. And if I mentioned that earlier, I'm so sorry. It was 4 1/2, obviously, that score line. I hope I didn't say that wrong. But when I did my matte layers, I was thinking still about the 2 1/4. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The numbers I gave you still look nice, right? But you just measure your spot and then do whatever you like, because we're all going to do something different anyway. A lot of times I always matte everything, or sometimes I don't matte them, so whatever it is. On this one, this next layer is 3 1/4. I'm sorry, 3/4, right? Not 3 1/4, 3/4. By 3 1/4. It happens to be 3 1/4 long, but it's also just 3/4 inches wide, okay? So I did cut it in a way that I can get those wordings in there, that at least part of the Let the Wild Rumpus Start will be there. I think it's really cute. So we're going to put that there. And again, because of the way I cut this first matte layer, there's a lot of gold showing when there's not as much of the black, right? This gold one should have been just a wee bit smaller. And then on this one, I'm using the opposite side that has all the different little like words from like the book. So I try to get as much of the like fun etching, like distress part of it. And let me quickly, let me tell you, this one is 1 3/4 by, of course, 3 1/4. But again, whatever you want to do to play with those numbers. You know I like eighths. I was just trying to make it easier for this video to not have eighths. And it kind of bit me in the buns because I forgot some of my numbers. That's okay. And so when it's folded up, it looks like this. Because again, we had to split the difference with those inches and, you know, to make it look right. This guy, I think I'm going to put on dimensionals. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on this and I'll be right back. Put some dimensionals on that. Looking really cute already. And basically what I'm going to do with the rest of it, so I just put some strips on here, is finish this off. Ooh. With, let me just eyeball this, and hopefully this tape I'm using is really sticky, so I have to be like right on for this to work out. I'll put it right there. My kids are awake now, guys, so I kind of have to go, but look how cute that is already. Oh my gosh. So this is my idea. When I come back, hopefully I'll have it fleshed out. I have had people recently, again, I think people are new to the channel and tell me that I should have a plan and then go from there. It'll be better for everyone involved. And it's like, that's not what I do here. And I know my style's not for everybody, so that's fine. It's okay. I'm not here to, I don't know. I guess most time on YouTube people are like, I want 1 million subscribers. I am happy just playing, and if it works for people, that's great. Alright, I was looking for these guys. So these happen to be stickers like it says, so let me see what that is. I might have said in my first video that they are die cuts. They're not, but they have a backing on them, so you can definitely use it as a die cut. And that's pretty much what I imagine I'm going to do, is just like pop this like guy there, And the one thing I noticed on the back here is that most of them are facing one way, and I'm like, because I like things. So I was in yearbook when I was a kid in high school, and I was able, because I'm such a little smarty pants, to get into yearbook earlier than the juniors and seniors that normally they only allowed at that time. And so I did yearbook for several years, and that's part of it. So when you're even scrapbooking, when you're designing your pages, the images should be facing in. So like if you have something on the left side, if it's facing out, I'm sorry, on the right side, and if it's looking that way, it's just not the same as if it was on the left side looking that way, because it's looking towards the center of the book. And if you think about it, it does make sense and it does look nicer, and maybe you can look at some books or illustrations and you'll start seeing that, oh yeah, that's usually how they, unless it's like a group of people or something and they're looking at each other, right? But if it's the one image, it should be facing in, so like for this one, if I put 2 images, I do want one facing the other way, but generally if I was just doing this and I had this like over here, it would be weird, right? You want it facing in. Here, that's okay. But anyway, just something I always keep in mind, I guess, whenever I'm looking at stuff like that or making scrapbooks or whatever it is. Super cute. I mean, this is a group of all these little guys, and that'd be cute because he's right there, or even put them right here. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, I'll play with this and I'll be back. Playing around with this. I think I am going to put a group of these guys like right here, also popped up. And then I have little Max here, and I have this sticker that says Roar. I think, again, we can take it off, but I think I'm just going to glue it down, and then I'll have him on dimensionals. And I like seeing the words here, but what we can do is maybe take like something small like this little, I mean, all these little cute stickers that are here, but maybe this one, and then just like the little crown. There's actually a little crown right there, but let's say we'll put that right there. Just have something extra. Oh, maybe another one over here. Nah, because you guys are going to cover it up anyway. So we'll leave it that there because I like the wording. And like I said, I'm going to glue that. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of him. Now we can also take the sticker off, stick it on a piece of like black paper or the gold, and then cut around it, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on him, dimensionals on this. And I mean, there's just, even this looks really cute, like King of All Wild Things right there. And I mean, you can still see through to everything else, but I wanted the words to be there. So, but lots of cute ways to play with this. Okay, let me get some dimensionals on this, and then I'm going to mock up a card again, just so you guys can see the numbers better, just because I did misspeak. I didn't misspeak when I was telling you the numbers on the card. I misspoke when I told you the matte layer part. I said, you know, you're at 4 1/4, but it's 4 1/2. So I don't want to confuse you guys with that, even though it wasn't that I misspoke when I was talking about the actual cutting and stuff. That was all spot on. But I do want to go over the numbers again. So let me get some dimensionals. I'll probably just go ahead and put some glue on this and glue that down. Only because this little piece is sticking up. Otherwise, I would just take the back off like a sticker and stick it down. But I'll be right back. And you can always flatten this out to work with it. I'm just keeping it the way it is. And I'm going to put glue all over this, knowing that little R at the top is going to be sticking out. And even at that, when you fold it up, like you can even have it sticking more towards that way if you wanted to, you know, because it just folds up. But like I said, I can lay this down. I have some dimensionals on him, including his little tail, just to support that. So cute. Now I want to see where this is at, though. What's so interesting is as you fold it up, you think, oh, this is going to stick out, but it doesn't, because when you open it up, he is kind of high. And actually, I put dimensionals where I didn't need to. Oh, just perfect. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay. So I'm going to put that there. And I did put his tail sticking out. Again, I'm going to have to make my own envelope for this. I might bring him in. I don't think I will, though. I think I'll just leave it like that. And then we have this guy here. And then I'm just going to die cut the word happy birthday. And I just got those new, I mean, I can, so a couple things. I was thinking about looking into, I want this like way out here, actually. Just so it looks like they're coming from over here. I think that just adds to it. How cute. Oh my gosh, you guys. Super happy with the way that came out. Again, I mean, I came up with the numbers on the fly. You can do this with any card size you like. Make up your own card size, you know, but we're just remembering that whatever you do here has to go up and down the same amount, right? When it goes up, it comes down the same amount. It goes up a different amount. It comes down that same amount of the different one. And excuse me, and as long as those numbers add up to whatever the height of your card is, right? The width, you know, you can cut this anywhere. You can cut it here, you can cut it in the center. Maybe you want this to be a really long stepper and just a little area here. Whatever it is, you know, that part is up to you, of course. The whole thing is up to you. Okay, so let me do a little mock-up right quick. And yeah, so I think I'm going to do is go into my Cricut and see if I have like a font that's kind of playful, and probably just cut, you know, happy birthday, and then pop it on here. Probably up here, because I feel like everything else is already taken up, so I'll put that there. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. Let me come back with a mock-up for you guys so you can see what we did. Okay, I'll be right back. And you can let me know if you like this for like the next videos. I can do something like this. I used to blog, it's just not my thing. So 9-inch square card. Let's write that. 9-inch square. Of course, the reason I don't even take the time to do this is because I want you guys to know how to make your own, and then I'm sure you're gonna do something different because maybe, you know, this is too big for you. This is honestly the cutest thing. I'm just like, I love looking at it. I love that it's here. My little grandnephew may not get it. No, I'm just kidding. He will. But 9-inch square card. You're gonna score it at 4 1/2. That's the first thing I would do straight up. 4 1/2. Now I cut this initially. If you don't want to cut it and just do a score line and then cut it afterwards, that's up to you. But you're going to start that at, oh, let me make sure I write this on here. It's, I believe it's 5 1/4, yeah. So this is 5 1/4 inches in, oops, right here. You know what I'm saying, to here. So this is at 5 1/4 inches in on the card. Let's do like that. 5 1/4 inches in. And you're going to start your cut line at 1 inch all the way up to 6 3/4 inches. That's where you stop. So again, you can score that first and then cut it afterwards, or go ahead and cut it like I did. Then from that line, that 5 1/4 inch in, starting there, you're going to score at 1 inch, you're going to score at 2 inches, you're going to score at 3 1/4, this one's already there because we scored it initially at 4 1/2, and then you're going to score it at 6 3/4 inches. When I put this on my scoreboard, on my trimmer, I had it like this, so I went backwards, right, in my numbers. So I went 8 inches, 7 inches, whatever this was, 5 3/4, whatever it was, and I just went backwards, subtracting the amounts. But if that's scary to you, you're gonna have to just remember that you're doing 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 1/4. The 4 1/2 should already be there, and then 6 3/4. You're cutting from the 1 inch line up to the 6 3/4. But anyway, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll have links as appropriate. Actually, this is really good for me to keep too, because I really like the size of this card. The card ends up being 4 1/2 by 9 inches. Once you have it folded and all that. So, all right, guys. I'll leave it steady there in case you want to take a screenshot if that helps. I don't know. Links are in the description box. I have images coming up, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.